Live mic. Never met a microphone I didn't love.
You notice.
As long as you're paying attention, that is all that matters. All right, so I can't see. I'll have to look at yours until mine pops up. Oh, so we're ready to roll.
Yeah, we're 5:32.
All right. Let's go ahead and call to order the LPA meeting of April 1st, 2025 at exactly 5:32 PM. Madam City Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Councilman Werner,
Here.
Councilman Gleason,
Here.
Councilwoman Leonard, Vice Mayor Langowski,
Present.
Mayor O'Connor.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. If you are able, please stand and join me for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Do we have any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda? If not, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Move approval of the agenda as presented.
I second.
Where's my reserve? That's fine.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Councilman Werner,
Yes.
Councilman Gleason,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski,
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0.
thank you. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilman Werner. Roll call, Councilman Gleason,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski,
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
We have before us ordinance 2025-02, site design guidelines for non-residential developments. Mr. City Attorney, please read by title only.
Yes, sir. Ordinance by title only, an ordinance of the City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, amending Chapter 101 of the City of Westlake's Code of Ordinances entitled General Administrative Provisions by specifically amending Section 101-194 entitled Applications under Article 3 entitled Procedures, providing for additional site design guidelines for non-residential development in MU District, the Town Center District, and the Medical District, provide for codification, conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, City Attorney.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, Osneil Leon, City Planner for the City of Westlake. Before you is ordinance number 2025-02. It's a city-initiated text amendment to the sign code. Take that back. This is the pavers, crosswalk pavers. So, section 101-194. Oops. We have, as directed by the council, we have incorporated some language in regards to requiring new developments to incorporate crosswalk pavers into their design. In section 101-194, applications is what apply to all new developments. We are adding the following language, site guidelines for crosswalk pavers for site plan and master site plans of non-residential developments in the mixed use zoning district, town center district, and the medical district. Perimeter crosswalks connecting to a multimodal pathway shall be delineated using contrasting paver blocks consistent with those utilized throughout the city. Number 2, internal crosswalks, material selection shall be at the discretion of the property owner or developer. And number 3 is all crosswalks pavers shall be a minimum of 12 inches of white color pavers as illustrated in the figure shown before you. Again, that's the only change that we're amending to this section of the code for new developments. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Staff recommends approval.
So this was not previously provided for in our
No,
code.
this is all new language, correct?
And what we're trying to do is create more of a
Consistent.
linear fabric in order for it to all integrate better within the city.
Correct.
And this is for all crosswalks that touch multimodals
Multimodal.
strictly.
Yes.
And the logic of doing this crosswalks that touch multimodals as assigned to all crosswalks is what?
Is the, this is the language that we are proposing. We do not want to propose any further language because the internal crosswalks might be the developer or the owner of the site might be liable for any, problems with the internal crosswalks.
These types of crosswalks would be more maintenance,
Yes.
more potential for separation.
Yeah, maybe, again, it's,
And
it's,
if I'm not mistaken, we've already kind of set a temperament, let's just say, throughout the city. We've
That's-
already granted some variances
Right.
and so on where we require the surrounding crosswalk.
that is correct. There was a previous application where a staff, it was approved with these crosswalks, and then the applicant came back to change those sidewalks, and then the council granted the same,
But it was never previously provided for in our code.
no,
And
Correct.
that's what this meeting is about.
correct. This is codifying that requirement to the code.
All right, so we've kind of set a precedent. And now we're making it part of our code so that nobody, no matter who comes forward, it's already known. Anything that touches a multimodal path will have to have these types of crosswalks.
That is correct. Any application that before you going forward after the second reading of this ordinance, that will be a requirement.
We'll have a consistency throughout our entire city.
That's correct.
And staff recommends approval.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So just for clarification, are there any crosswalks that do not meet this that we've grandfathered in that, let's say, go beyond
That's a great
the
one.
multimodal?
Are there any crosswalks currently that touch multimodals that do not have brick?
That's a great question. I do not have that information. I don't want to guess, but the crosswalks have been very consistent with new developments. I don't want to give you wrong information, but I can get that information for the second reading.
I mean, I know previously, so Groves Plaza was pre-existing, but they are.
Yeah.
They are going to do the crosswalks, correct?
No,
My thought was the,
just one.
Just the bank.
or the Publix, when we started this conversation, I think they initially had a different crosswalk. We approved someone to,
So in that specific case, everything had crosswalk pavers for the KFC internal and connecting to the multimodal. The applicant came back and only connecting the multimodal and the perimeter of the site is crosswalks, pavers, not internal.
So let me ask you, for those properties that aren't brand new.
Right.
Will they then have to retroactively or?
No.
Grandfathered in? Because I
Right.
believe they should be.
No, because this ordinance is coming after.
So it's from
The
this
approval.
point forward.
Yes.
any new,
Right. Any redevelopments will need to comply or new developments.
Would they fall under a category of being non-conforming? And if they were to ask for a new adjustment in their plan, would they then have to meet these requirements?
Yeah, so typically with nonconformities, there are certain requirements where you can implement the new codes. It depends to the extent of the change, right? So if it's a big percentage of the redevelopment, then yeah, they'll have to comply with new regulations.
We have a rare privilege here where everything we're doing is brand new, so we're not hurting existing business. We're not closing businesses down. We're not disrupting traffic by forcing this, or not forcing, by implementing this on the new construction. But I think to take somebody who's already in business in a buzzing plaza and make them close down roads to try to retroactively change these crosswalks would be an undue burden. It's certainly my opinion. Okay, do we have any more discussions or questions?
I wanted to hear from Councilman Warner because he was when I brought it up.
Thank you, Vice Mayor and Mayor.
You are recognized.
Question for our city planner. This has come to our attention because recently staff brought to us a project where the internal crosswalks were not pavers. And in your report, your staff report to the council, you indicated that they are not consistent with our community character,
That's correct.
internal crosswalks. What did you mean by that?
Well, all the new developments have been providing these crosswalks. Pavers, decorative pavers is what's called on most of the new site plans and new development. So it's been consistent throughout the city that all these new developments have been putting these crosswalks pavers. And that's why, staff was recommending to maintain the aesthetics of keep providing the crosswalks. But again, we did not have codified that section. So, staff cannot, make a developer put something that's not per code.
Okay, so building on your comment, Mayor, that we're starting from scratch or brand new, and we're looking at new projects, I'm of the opinion that all crosswalks that are shown on the approved site plan should meet this standard, be pavers as described in the design here, and maybe a provision that would allow for the council to make some modifications if there are unique circumstances that would warrant not having those crosswalks. But I think they should be on all internal and perimeter crosswalks to maintain community character.
So is that current? So is that currently there with the crosswalks we have now, what you're explaining, do we currently have that? Because I think to the mayor's point, now we would be going back, or those people will be grandfathered in. So we're not going to go backwards. It would just
No,
be
we would
going
still be
forward.
talking about from this point forward.
Okay,
But what you're asking for is that every single crosswalk from this point forward throughout the entire city be pavers.
Okay, well,
So that's what I was
I just want to clarify what you're asking.
right, and let's clarify, when you say the entire city, all of our residential areas have these paver designs.
but not white.
Well, they're
not
consistent,
circular.
they're like this, shown on the document. It's the non-residential zones that have no codification, no regulation. And this is gonna establish that.
Right. So
And
what staff is recommending is that all of the exterior crosswalks, the multimodal touches, so basically coming into the plazas,
I understand that.
pavers.
I understand that. I don't disagree with that. All I'm suggesting is not just the perimeter crosswalks, but all crosswalks that are required in the parking lot for pedestrian safety, internal, yeah.
Is there a safety concern
Okay.
between a non-pavered crosswalk and a regular crosswalk? Or are we strictly talking about aesthetics?
I believe we're just talking about aesthetics right now.
Okay, so it's not a safety.
No, I'm saying all of the crosswalks that are shown on a site plan
Right, you
that are
want
meant,
everything-
for pedestrian safety.
I see,
Give it the
but
same.
it's not, so it's strictly an aesthetic issue.
So it all looks the same.
And consistent.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's that,
Is there,
it's community character.
can you run through some pros and cons of why we would want all crosswalks versus some crosswalks?
Okay. We can do some research on that. Again, the crosswalks, either paver or delineated stripe, they all have to be clearly delineated. So for pedestrian safety, they will
What
have.
percentage of the commercial is currently built out?
That's
Say.
a great question.
So we're talking about
Can
the
answer.
community character.
Yeah.
We're at our origin story right now, so we're building that community character as we
Absolutely.
speak.
That's why we.
I want to know, I mean, I honestly want to know the cost implications. I want to know what we're asking of these developers. I want to know if some developer may choose not to come here because it's too big of an ask.
Well, Mayor, I'm suggesting that we have a clause in there that allows the council to
Well,
modify.
we always have the ability to modify,
Exactly.
no matter what.
All right, so we don't need that clause.
Correct. I think we should take staff, I mean, it's my opinion. I think we should take staff's recommendation as is because it's our staff recommending it. But, we can always ask at every site plan to please if you would like to, but I want to know all the other reasons. I want to know if there's any safety concerns. Do paver crosswalks after time start to separate and become a trip hazard?
Well, Mayor, we'll be on the hook for that as well, because all of the public right-of-way crosswalks are exactly this.
Correct, but if they're not a trip hazard and we're creating one,
Well, we're creating one here, according to you. We're putting them in,
we're putting them on the outskirts, not where you're walking.
in the public
between,
right-of-way.
Not where you're walking in between.
They're in the
I think
sidewalk.
we're trying to juggle safety and aesthetics,
Uh,
and we have a responsibility to do that responsibly. So I don't know what I don't know, but I'm asking staff to
Yeah,
recommend. Is there a reason that staff recommended the outskirts only versus?
Well, we
Everywhere.
based it on previous approvals, what council has previously approved. And then we did
I'm
not
more
want
likely
to,
take Staff's recommendation.
I'm sorry?
And I said, I'm more likely to take
Yeah.
staff's recommendation than to create my own.
Well, Mayor, this was your suggestion, and that's why staff is making it this way. You suggested this when we brought the item up for consideration at our last, 2 meetings ago. You're the one that suggested, let's just do the perimeter crosswalks.
It should be, I mean, something should be a part of our code so that it's not being brought in front of us on every single meeting.
Agreed,
That's a waste of our time, a
Agreed.
waste of staff's time.
right.
So the question is, do we want to make it through the entire, every single crosswalk or not? And I just don't know what I don't know. I'd like to be educated as to why we would do just the outside versus the inside,
Okay.
or both? Or is there some underlying reason? Is there a trip hazard? Is there a safety concern?
We can definitely do some research if that's one of the issues with paver
What were the
crosswalks.
other reasons that staff, besides previous approvals, or my recommendation?
Not, we didn't want to pose a burden to new applicants and of,
I agree
you know,
with that as well. I
having
think in
all
our
these.
growth period, we need to be extremely attractive to new businesses, and I don't want somebody to come in here and say, if I've got to spend, and I don't know what it costs. I have no idea. But if I'm looking from a private investor point of view, if I've got to spend a fortune on crosswalks, I may decide to go to Port St. Lucie instead.
Well, if that's going to do it for them, then maybe they should go to Port St. Lucie. Mayor,
We're
Mayor,
desperate for restaurants right now.
well, that's not going to make a difference on crosswalks. Developers are looking for a clear statement of what the city wants. And if this council wants a community, a quality of community character, then we should say so. If we're willing to modify it or compromise on it, well, that should be what the ordinance says too. But I'm suggesting that all of them shown on the approved site plan should be pavers.
I'm suggesting that we take staff's recommendation at the moment, considering
I make
it's
a
asked for
recommendation
more.
that we table it And you come back to us with more.
So this is a land planning agency meeting. This
This is first.
will go before your first reading in city council as
Gotta make
well.
Some adjustments between.
Can I-
first
can I
and
make
second.
sure-
That's great.
Mayor.
as well.
I
Between
make-
first and second, can you bring me information on safety issues and,
Yes.
sell it to me one way or another?
We can do that.
What's that?
We can do that.
Mayor, if I might respectfully to the council, I would pass it as the LPA, get it to the council level, then decide what you want to do. Because you're gonna take it up in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, so table it right now?
No,
Take-
pass
I'll
it
pass it now and then we could revisit it in 10 minutes.
at the city council level.
Okay. In that case, I'd love to entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the LPA ordinance 2025-02 site design guidelines for non-residential development.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Leonard, seconded by Councilman Gleason. Roll call. Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Councilman Gleason.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Excellent. Thank you for your sound reasoning, City Attorney. All right, we are, where am I at? 2025-03.
I could read it by
Read
title.
by title, please.
Ordinance by title only, ordinance of the City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, amending Chapter 13 titled Signs of the City of Westlake's Code of Ordinances by specifically amending Section 113-8 entitled Master Sign Plan, Section 113-11 entitled Permitted Signs, and Section 113-66 entitled Permitted Temporary Signs, providing for an amendment to notes and remarks to provide for a maximum number of signs and for additional requirements relative to grand opening, project opening, and new business signs, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and effective date.
I'm guessing we have a presentation.
Yes, sir. For the record, Jose Leon, City Planner for the City of Westlake. Before you is Ordinance 2025-03. This is the Chapter 113 Sign Code Text Amendment. This is a city-initiated text amendment. We are amending Section 113-8 regards to master sign plan. We are basically making it clear that all new commercial developments are required to apply and get city council approval for a master sign plan. Before the previous language, it wasn't very clear. So this makes it very clear that all new non-residential development are required for a master sign plan. Then we're also making some changes to the requirements for the ground signs for commercial buildings based on the amount of waivers that the city has been, the applicants have been requesting and the city has been granted. We're took the initiative to kind of eliminate the waiver requests, the amount of waivers that applicants are requesting. And for ground signs for commercial buildings, we are increasing the square footage from 60 to 70 square feet. For the maximum sign structure dimensions, it's increasing from 8 feet tall to 14 feet and a maximum of 8 tenants instead of 6. And these are some of the examples of previous signs that has been granted approval. One is the Westlake Landings and the Grove Market at Westlake. They all were granted 14 feet tall signs. These are the general locations of these signs. We are also amending the wall signs and logos. Previously, we did not have any requirements for logos. We also removing the front and the right of way for building wall signage based on the designs of these new developments. There were a lot of requests from the sign not facing a right of way because these are inside pods, and so we're removing that requirement and also incorporating language on regarding logo. The logos have criteria that they have to meet. The design, they have to be integral to the advertising copy, if consistent with an approved color scheme of a master sign plan, and if displayed as federally registered. Also, a maximum of 50% of the area of each wall sign may incorporate a logo. The logo shall not exceed the total height of any sign on the building. We are also incorporating the logo language as part of the ground signs for ground floor uses with separate entrances. This is a separate set of signs. And we are adding language on the temporary signs. We're adding that no more than 1 banner per tenant, maximum of 2 signs faces, a maximum height of 5 feet, and should not be attached to utility pole, landscape material, antenna, or trash receptacles. Flags are permitted as follows: no more than 1 flag per 100 linear feet, maximum 2 signs faces, and a maximum height of 7 feet and 16 square feet. These are for grand openings, project openings, new businesses. And that's it. Yeah, we'd answer any questions.
Can we go back to your, I'm sorry, who's doing the, oh, yep, there you are. Go ahead. I
No,
just
no,
want,
no,
I'm gonna, on the wall signs, just to be clear, do we have a color scheme within our city code for the signage on all of our?
No.
No.
Now, so basically, we allow the master sign plan program where applicants can do, a color scheme of desire. Right.
Greg can have red.
Right.
Mayor can have whatever.
Correct.
Okay, so is that something I guess we want to consider, and only because that's true, and again, it's just a thought. Do we want to have a consistent color throughout the city? And anyone who's asking for signage outside of that, be permitted based on their companies or copyright logo, like you were talking about? So
Yeah.
do we consider that? When we think about that, and only because I've had personal experience with this lately, am I even asking the question? So not because of anything, but is that something we want to,
I mean,
is it worth it to consider that or think about it?
Can I answer? So you want that all logos be the same color,
No, the logos
but the writing
are
all the same?
copyrighted, yes. But
Yes.
you're not a franchise per
Right.
se, like a Taco Bell or whatever. So for them to have their brand in red, they would come before us and get special permission for that. Everybody who's not, let's say, a franchise, would be required to have, let's say, black lettering, but something consistent throughout the plazas. Is that
so
the
I mean.
reason we don't have that?
I understand that the idea and I understand the thought process and the concept behind it. My only reservation is obviously we're allowing national franchises to have their,
Mhm.
you know, McDonald's has to have their
Right.
golden arches, Taco Bell has to be whatever, so on and so forth. And the concern I have is, you know, not everybody starts out as a McDonald's. You might start out as a wireless JPO and turn into a McDonald's. So like, are we handcuffing people to not be able to express their actual logo, even though they're a small entity? They might still have their logo, which they should be able to display proudly, and they might start off here and we water them and give them a chance to grow, and they end up the next McDonald's. I'd be opposed to creating some kind of West.
Colors.
Yeah, like I'm into less.
No, Boca has.
Less
that.
government, not more government. I don't know if I want to regulate that. That's just my opinion.
So
but
again,
I-
personal experience, so I threw that
Yeah.
out. The second part,
Drip bar might want to be
yeah,
there.
temporary signage. How long can a business have a temporary sign displayed?
So right now it's 7 days before the grand opening or special event or new businesses, and then they have to be removed 10 days after
Hmm.
the opening.
So is that a 30-day period? Like you do?
No,
have
it's
a
17,
back-
it's 17 days. It's
Okay.
exactly 17 days. I think it should be more personally. I
Yeah.
think it should be at least a 30-day, you know, maybe 7 days
Again,
before and then
some-
20.
and
No, I agree with you. You need a little bit more
I
than
think, yeah.
10 days to really.
And I have no control of, not to make my own personal, but over the signage, but things that have happened
Right.
have caused that sign not to be ready. And the city has a stipulation of 30 days for a temporary sign. So I'm just wondering if we want to
I mean,
consider some of those.
I think a total of 30 days is probably okay, but 17 is probably not enough. You know, 10 days is what, one weekend,
Yeah.
right? You have your grand opening, you have your big banner outside for
what you're
one
like-
weekend, and then you
You
gotta
have
take
no
it down
sign.
and nobody knows you exist because they weren't there.
So a total, counting the 7 days before.
I would say a total of
And then
30
after.
days, and we're a brand new city in the sense that everything is brand new, literally everything. So it's not like we're, you know, these unique outliers where we're pre-existing and oh, it's a brand new thing. Everything's brand new. So for us, the more allowance we give to let brand new operators have visibility
It's great.
is a detriment. Yeah,
Mr. Mayor, for clarification, so that would be 7 days before the event,
I'd say.
the grand
30
open,
after.
and 20 after,
No?
total of 27 days or
No,
total of
let's go
30 days?
37. Let's go 37, make it simple. The grand opening, they get 30 days from there,
Okay.
30 full days.
Mhm.
Anybody have any other opinions on,
Mr. Mayor,
please?
if I may, touching on what Councilwoman Leonard was speaking about in reference to the colors, I understand the signage itself, but what about the actual structure that the signs sit in? Do we want to try to make that uniform across the city? And then the signage could be different within that sign, just to have that cosmetic aesthetic uniformity, or?
Do we want to be that cookie cutter? I don't know.
So to answer a question, right now, the city does have a design for this monument sign, so they're all pretty much uniform.
Monument signs, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, that's,
But you're talking about like
wall
individual
signs.
plazas hanging in front of the business, right?
no, I'm talking about the
Monument-
monument sign.
Monument signs, 1000%.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
In terms of like, I think every sign in this plaza should have the same uniform,
Mhm.
but maybe not that plaza over
Right.
there. I mean, that would get a little step further.
Well, that's
Makes
why we
sense.
have a master sign plan.
Correct.
We review it and we approve it.
Correct. But we don't need to instill a color monochromatic scheme for the entire city.
Mr. Mayor, if I might, it's 6:02. You may,
Yep.
want- you can pick up this conversation with.
Yeah, no, I'd love to entertain a motion and then I'll adjourn so we can start the actual meeting.
I'll move approval of LPA ordinance 2025-03, amending the text amendment for signs.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, second by Vice Mayor Langowski. Roll call, Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Councilman Gleason.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard. Motion carries 5-0.
Do we have any public comments on this matter?
Not listed in the-
It's on my script. All right, if there's no further business, I will go ahead and adjourn at 6:02 PM. And let's jump right in to the council meeting since we're late. I'm going to call to order the regular city
Mayor.
council. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, pardon me. We just need a moment to switch over the meetings,
Oh.
please. Thank you.